So, in the previous class, we have started with energy principles. Uh, this unit, in this unit, we will be going to discuss Castigliono's first theorem, Castigliono's second theorem. Though unit load method is not there in your syllabus, will uh, will try to cover this as well, and then the approximate methods. So, uh, in the previous lecture, we have seen the energy stored due to axial load and energy stored due to bending. The strain energy uh, is given by the work done on the structure, which is equals to average force times deformation. So, the strain energy stored due to axial load will be the average load 1 by 2 into P times the deformation. Deformation of the bar due to the load P is PL by A. Here we are neglecting the weight of the bar. So the strain energy stored due to axial load will be P square L by 2AE. Then we have seen strain energy stored due to bending. So that is equal to 1 by 2 sigma into dA. Now the deformation of the bar will be, we can write this in terms of stress, and it can be written as sigma by E into delta L into L. Deformation of the bar will be sigma by E into L. So here we are considering the small element whose length is dx, so it is dx. So your strain energy stored within this small element will be sigma square by 2e dA into dx. Now, from the bending moment equation, you can replace sigma by my by I. So, you will have du is equals to m square by 2 ei dx, where we are replacing y square dA with I, which is the second moment of inertia, and integrating this over the entire length of the beam, you will have u is equals to 0 to L m square by 2 ei dx. That is the strain energy stored due to bending. Then we have seen Maxwell's reciprocal theorem, or law of reciprocal deflection, which is given by J.C. Maxwell in 1864. Now, the statement of this law is: in any structure whose material is elastic and obeys Hooke's law, and in which the supports remains unyielded and temperature remains constant, the deflection at any point 1 due to a load W applied at point 2 is equal to the deflection at point 2 due to the load W applied at point 1. That means, suppose we are applying the load W at point 1, then the deflection at point 2 will be the same as deflection at point 1 when the load is applied at point 2. Okay, that is delta 1 2 is equals to delta 2 1. Okay, the necessary condition for application of Maxwell's reciprocal theorem is the beam should be elastic and it should obey Hooke's law. The support should remain unyielded and the temperature remains constant. Then we have seen its proof. Then we have seen Betty's law, which is the generalized form of Maxwell's reciprocal theorem for system of forces. In Maxwell's reciprocal theorem, we considered only one force at a time, acting at a time. Okay, but on a structure, there may be a system of forces. There is a series of forces. So Betty gave a generalized form of Maxwell's reciprocal theorem in 1872. The statement is: in any structure, the material is elastic and obeys Hooke's law, and the support remains unyielded and temperature remains constant. The virtual work done by system of forces P1, P2, P3 during the distortion caused by the system of forces Q1, Q2, Q3 is equal to the virtual work done by the system of forces Q1, Q2, Q3 during the distortion caused by the system of forces P1, P2, P3. So, if P1, P2, P3 are the system of forces acting on beam AB, then the work done in this case will be WE, which is the work done by the system of forces P1, P2, P3, WE dash, which is the work done by the system of forces Q1, Q2, Q3, plus P1 Y1 plus Q2 Y2 plus P3 Y3. Similarly, when system of forces Q1, Q2, Q3 acts on beam AB, the virtual work done will be WE dash, which is the work done by the system of forces Q1, Q2, Q3, plus WE, which is the work done by the system of forces P1, P2, P3, plus Q1 times Y1, Q2 times Y2, Q3 times Y3. Now equating this 1 and 2, you will have P1 Y1 plus P2 Y2 plus P3 Y3 equals to Q1 Y1 equals to Q2 Y2 plus Q3 Y3. That means the P1 into Y1, P2 Y2, P3 Y3 is equals to Q1 Y1, Q2 Y2 plus Q3 Y3. That is Betti's theorem. Then we have seen Castigliono's first theorem. This theorem presents method to find deflections and slope in statically determinate beams and frames. It was given by Castiglione in 1876. The statement is, in any beam or truss subjected to any load system, the deflection at point R is given by partial differential coefficients of strain energy with respect to force PR acting at the point R in the direction in which the deflection is desired. Means mathematically we can write delta is equals to del U by del PR. That is Castiglione's first theorem. So if we want to find the deflection at point R, it is given by del U, which is the strain energy differentiating partial differentiation of strain energy with respect to force PR at R, and the direction of the deflection will be the same as the direction of the load. So the direction of this deflection will be downward, which is the same as this. So direction of the load is in downward direction, so the deflection will also be in downward direction. So for finding the deflection using Castiglione's first theorem, the expression would be delta R is equals to del U by del PR, and to find the slope, it will be partial differentiation with respect to moment. The partial differentiation of total strain energy with respect to force, and for slope, the slope is given by partial differentiation of total strain energy with respect to moment. But we know that U is equals to integration from 0 to L m square by 2 EI dx, which is the strain energy stored due to bending. So we can write delta R is equals to 0 to L m by EI del m by del PR dx. That is the Castiglione's first theorem, which is used to find the deflection in the statically determinate beams and frames. Now to find the slope is given by integration 0 to L m by EI del m by del R times dx, which is used to find the slope. Okay, and some notes to be kept in mind while using this Castiglione's theorem. The material of the structure should be elastic. It should obey Hooke's law. The supports are unyielded. Temperature remains unchanged. The member subjected to bending, the strain energy stored due to axial load is small, and hence it is neglected. So here we are neglecting the axial deformation of the member. Only the beam is considered as subjected to bending only. The strain energy stored due to bending is given by U is equals to 0 to L m square by 2 EI dx. The deflection at any point R is given by delta R is equals to 0 to L m by EI del m by del PR times dx. The slope at any point R is given by del R theta R is equals to 0 to L m by EI del m by del mr dx. Now in case if it is required to find the deflection at any point where there is no load acting, then apply a fictitious load at that point, and later on put the value of this fictitious load as 0, you will get the deflection. Similarly, in case if you want to find the slope at any point where there is no moment, then apply a fictitious moment at that point, and then later after integration put the value of that moment equals to 0, you will get the slope at that point. That we will see today by an example. Now, the process of finding the slopes and deflection using Castigliono's first theorem involves integration and partial differentiation. So, you have to go through the integration and partial differentiation in your mathematics, covered in your mathematics. Then we have seen an example of a cantilever, and we were supposed to find the slope and deflection at point B. So we first found the deflection. So to find the deflection at point B, we have to apply a load at B. But there is already a load 60 kilonewton acting at B. So consider this load P as equals to 60 kilonewton acting at B. Then our sign convention will be sagging as positive. So for cantilever sections, we will be moving from right to left. So this will be our sign convention. Now for segment BC, from B to C, the origin we consider as B. The limit will be 0 to 2. The flexural rigidity of this member is EI. The moment at any section X will be P into X. Now this is clockwise. As per our sign convention, anti-clockwise is positive. So this is clockwise. About this section, this is causing clockwise. But as per our sign convention, it is anti-clockwise. So it will be minus P into X. Now partial differentiation of M with respect to P will be equal to del by del P of minus Px. It will be minus X. Then we move to segment CA. The origin is C. The limit is 0 to 4. Flexural rigidity is 2 EI here, and moment at any section X from C will be equal to P into X plus 2, because this is 2 meter and this is X. So moment about this section will be P into X plus 2. Anti-clockwise, it is clockwise, so negative. It is acting in clockwise, so negative as per our sign convention. Anti-clockwise is positive. Minus 20 into x square by 2. This is acting clockwise, so again negative. And differentiation of this term with respect to P will be minus x plus 2, because this term don't have any terms containing P, so it will be 0. So now using Castigliono's first theorem, delta is given by 0 to integration 0 to L mx by EI del mx by del P into dx. So delta P is equals to 0 to 2 first segment, integration from 0 to 2, mx is minus px by EI into del mx by del P is minus x into dx. Okay, plus second segment, that is integration from 0 to 4, moment is minus P into x plus 2 minus 20 x square by 2 divided by 2 EI times del m by del P, that is minus x plus 2 dx. So if you do the integration and substituting the value of P equals to 60 kilonewton and EI is equals to 10 into 10 to the power 4 kilonewton meter square, you will get the deflection as 27.73 mm. Okay. Now similarly, we'll now solve this for finding the slope. So let us find the slope at B. Now, as you can see in the given problem, there is no moment at B. So we have to apply a fictitious moment here. Let us say this is the fictitious moment M, whose value is equals to 0 kilonewton meter. Okay. So now we will formulate an expression of moment in terms of M. So again we make a table, segment, origin, limit, flexural rigidity, mx, moment at section x, and del mx by del m, where m is any arbitrary moment. So now first we consider segment BC. Origin is B. Limit will be 0 to 2 because here limit is 2. Flexural rigidity is EI. Now moment about this section will be, now we are considering this as clockwise, and as per our sign convention, sagging is positive, so anti-clockwise is positive, but this is clockwise 0, so it will be minus m. Okay. You can assume it as anti-clockwise also, because ultimately this value is 0 only, so it is up to you, but here we are assuming it clockwise, so it is negative. Then 60 into x minus 60 into x, okay, and del mx by del m will be equal to minus 1, because partial differentiation of this with respect to m will be equal to minus 1, because there is no this term, partial differentiation of this term will be 0. Then C to A, origin is C, limit will be 0 to 4, flexural rigidity is 2 EI. Now moment about this section XX will be equal to minus m minus 60 into x plus 2 and minus 20 into x square by 2. And partial differentiation of this will also be minus 1, because there is no term containing m on these two terms, so partial differentiation of that will be 0. So now using Castigliono's first theorem, theta is equals to integration from 0 to L m mx by EI del mx by del m into dx. So for the first segment, integration from 0 to 2, moment is given by minus m minus 60x divided by EI times del m by del x is minus 1 dx, plus second term integration 0 to 4, okay, moment is minus m minus 60 into x plus 2 minus, we can write this as 10x square, 10x square divided by 2 EI into minus 1 dx. Integrating this, we will have this minus multiplies inside, so it will be m. Let us take 1 upon EI as common. So 1 upon EI is taken outside. So it will be m into x, because integration of m dx will be, m is constant, so integration dx will be x plus 60 x square by 2 integration 0 to 2, limit 0 to 2, then 1 upon 2 ei taken outside, and this again minus multiplied inside, so it will be plus m. The integration of m dx will be mx plus 60 x plus 2 whole square by 2 plus 10 x cube by 3. Okay, limit is 0 to 4. Now you substitute the upper and lower limit and put the value of m equals to 0. You will have, because actually there is no moment there, just to make an equation of moment we are applying an fictitious moment here. This is fictitious moment. So put m equals to 0 kilonewton meter. So your theta b, this is theta b. This is, we are finding theta b will be equal to, and put ei is equals to 10 into 10 to the power minus, how much was the value? 10 into 10 to the power 4 kilonewton meter square. We are converting ei, that is flexibility, in kilonewton meter square because your distances are in meter and the forces are in kilonewton. So it will be 10 into 10 to the power 4 into bracket, this m will be 0, so this will be 0 plus 60 into 2 square by 2. Lower limit is 0, so it will be 0 only, plus 1 upon 2 into 10 into 10 to the power 4 into the bracket, this term will be 0 plus 60 into, substituting 4, it will be 6 square by 2. This is the upper limit, plus 10 into 4 cube by 3. Now substitute the lower limit. Substituting this lower limit, it will be 0 here, plus 60 into 2 square by 2, and this last term will also be 0. Okay, so this is theta b. So solving, we will get theta b as 706.67 into 10 to the power minus 5 radian. So we can write theta b is equals to 0.00706 707, we can write from 707 radian, and the value here is positive, that means it is acting in clockwise direction. The value of this integration comes out to be positive, that means whatever the sign we have assumed for the moment, we have assumed clockwise moment here, so this is also acting clockwise. Okay, we can also express this in radian. So in radian it will be in degree it can be 0.00707 into 180 by pi. Multiply it with 180 by pi, that will give you the value in radian. That is 0.405 degree. Okay. This is also likewise. Now there is a task for you. That is, find slope and deflection at point C of example 1. So whatever the example we have discussed, you find the slope and deflection. There is a hint. To find the deflection at C, deflection at C, to find the deflection at C, you should apply a fictitious point load there, okay, whose value will be P equals to 0 kilonewton, okay, and then you formulate an expression of moments, and later on substituting, integrating, and then substituting the value of P as 0, you will get the deflection at C. Same way, for finding the slope at C, you apply a fictitious moment at C. Okay, you can assume any direction, clockwise or anti-clockwise, and this moment, value of this moment will be 0 kilonewton meter, because there is no moment acting at that point, so we are assuming this value. Otherwise, if there is a moment at that point, then you can consider that moment as m and formulate the moment equation. And the value of this delta C, you will get it as, this is the answer, you can verify with your calculation, 14.5 mm in downward direction. Okay, and this value theta C is equal to 0.336 degree, or in radian it is 0.00586 radian, and in degree it is 0.336 degree. Both are, means these are clockwise only. Okay, so you just try to solve this, and if you find any difficulty, we'll discuss in the next class. Now we'll take another example. This time, instead of cantilever beam, we'll have we'll we'll take an example of simply supported beam. Determine the deflection under 60 kN load for a simply supported beam as shown in figure. Consider E is equals to 2 into 10 to the power 5 Newton per mm square, and I is equals to 2 into 10 to the power 8 mm raised to 4. Beam with and A as means and B is roller support. It is subjected to a UDL of intensity 20 kN per meter. In addition, it is also subjected to a point load of 60 kN. This is A, this is B, this is 2 meter, this is 4 meter, okay. So we have to solve this. So solution. Now here EI is equal to 2 into 10 to the power 5 multiplied by 2 into 10 to the power 8. So that is 4 into 10 to the power 13 Newton mm square. Okay, but here our loads are in kilonewton, distances are in meter, so we have to be consistent with the unit. So we convert this into 4 into now kilonewton, so it can be written as 10 to the power 4 into 10 to the power 9 Newton mm square. So this term is actually kilonewton meter square. So we can write this as kilonewton meter square. So always do this first, because you are if you are not consistent with the unit, your answer will be wrong. Next step, here we have to find the support reactions in terms of the uh, moment. So suppose we first let us find the here, let us say this is point C. This is point C, and we have been asked to find theta C and delta C. We have to find the slope and deflection. Only deflection, not slope. Only deflection we have to find. So we have to find deflection at C. So consider a fictitious load P equals to 60 kN. Okay, then you can formulate the expression in terms of P. So, but for that, here this is a simply supported case, so you have to find the support reactions also. So let us find the support reactions in terms of P. Taking moment at A, that is summation of moments at A equals to 0, implies, let us say this is RB. So RB into 6 acting in anti-clockwise direction minus 20 into 6 square by 2 acting in clockwise direction minus this P load, P into 2. Now we'll consider this 60 kN as P only. We'll consider this as P. Okay, and later on we'll substitute the value of P as 60. So multiply by P, this will be equal to 0. So here RB will be equal to P by 3, okay, plus 60 and the direction of this will be upward only, because we have considered upward as positive and this value is positive, so it is positive. Then sigma V equals to 0 implies RA plus RB, this is RA, RB is equals to P by 3 plus 60. RA plus RB will be equals to 20 into 6, that is the total vertical load, plus P. Okay, so this implies RA will be equal to 120, this is 120 plus P minus RB. RB is P by 3 plus 60. So you will get RA equals to 60 minus 60 plus P minus P by 3, that will be 2P by 3. Okay, so you can write this as RA is equals to 2P by 3 plus 60. This is also positive. So this is 2P by 3 plus 60, and this is P by 3 plus 60. Okay, now we have the reactions RA and RB in terms of P. So will now make a table. Segment, origin, limit, flexural rigidity, mx, del mx by del p. Okay. Now it will be easy if we consider this section at a distance x from A for segment AC. Okay. For first segment is AC, origin is A. You can consider origin as C as well, but your limit and all you have to modify accordingly. So if you consider this segment AC and A as origin, so limit of this segment will be from 0 to 2 because it is 2 meter. Limit is 0 to 2. Flexural rigidity is constant for the entire beam, it is EI. Now the moment at any section X will be equal to RA into X. Okay, the moment here will be RA into X, and as per our sign convention, sagging is positive. Now here we are moving from left to right, means we are on the left of the section. So on the left of the section, clockwise is positive, and this RA will cause clockwise moment. So RA will be positive. So it will be 2p by 3 plus 60 into x. Okay, 2p by 3 plus 60 into x. Then the UDL on this segment, that will cause anti-clockwise moment. But as per a sign convention, clockwise is positive, so it will be negative. So minus 20 into x square by 2. Minus 20 x square by 2. Okay, and del p by del m of this will be 2 by 3 into x. Two by 3 of x. Okay, because if you multiply x inside, it will be 2px by 3, and differentiation with respect to p will be 2 by 3 into x, and this term will be 0 because there is no term containing p. Now the second segment, that is CB. Now here we'll take a section, instead of taking distance x from C or A, we will take this distance from B. That will make our calculation easy. Otherwise you have to consider, if you are measuring x from here, then you have to consider all these loads, RA, this 20 kilonewton point load, and this 60 means peak kilonewton point load also. So instead we will consider section at a distance x from B. So now we consider segment BC and origin as B, 0 to 4. EI is constant, that is this moment. Now this time we are moving from right to left. So we are on the right side of the segment. So we will be using this sign convention, anti-clockwise as positive. So this will cause anti-clockwise moment, RB into X, that will be anti-clockwise, so that will be positive. So RB is P by 3 plus 60 into X. Okay. Then this UDL will cause clockwise moment, but as per our sign convention, anti-clockwise is positive, so minus 60 minus 20 into x square by 2, and again the differentiation of this with respect to p will be 1 by 3 of x. Okay, so now you have this table. You can now use Cauchy-Green's first theorem using CFT. Delta c is equal to integration from 0 to L mx by ei del mx by del m, del p, we are finding deflection, times dx. So we can write this as integration from 0 to 2. Mx is this term, that is 2p by 3 plus 60 into x minus, we can cancel this 2 and 20, similarly 2 and 20, minus 10x square by ei into del mx by del p is 2x by 3 times dx, plus second integral, that is integration from 0 to 4. Moment is p by 3 plus 60 into x minus 10 x square whole divided by ei. This time it will be x by 3 dx. You can use Cauchy to integrate this. There is a function available in Cauchy. You write the function, this function, and give the limit. It will calculate the integration and give you the result. You can use that also. So here we take 1 upon ei as common. Now integrating this, you will get multiply this 2p inside, so it will be 4p x square by 9 plus this 60 into 2 by 3, that means 20 into 4, that is 40, plus 40 x square minus 20 x cube by 3 dx, plus again we take pi as common, so it will be 0, 4, so it will be px square by 9 plus 20 x square minus 10 x cube by 3 dx. Now you integrate this, so 1 upon ei integration of 9p x cube x square by 9 will be 4p x cube by 9 into 3 plus 40 x cube by 3 minus 20 x raised to 4 by 3 into 4, limit is 0 to 2, plus 1 upon ei p x cube by 9 into 3 plus 20 x cube by 3 minus 10 x raised to 4 by 3 into 4 integration 0 to 3. Now you put the limit, you will get this is your delta C. Now putting P is equals to 60 kilonewton. Actually the value of P is 60 kilonewton. Okay, so we'll substitute the value of P as 60 and EI is equals to 4 into 10 to the power 4 and EI is equals to 4 into 10 to the power 4 kilonewton meter square. You will get delta C is equals to 506.67 divided by 4 into 10 to the power 4, that is EI. Okay, so that is delta C is equal to 0.01267 meter, and the direction of this will be downward because your P is in downward direction. P is in downward direction, so this is also in downward direction. So we can write this as 12.67 mm downward. Okay, so this is how you can find the deflection. So now there is a task for you. Find slope at A, slope at B and slope at C for example 2. Okay, I give you some hint. To find slope at A, what you have to do, this will be say 60 only, but this time your reaction will be different and you have to apply a fictitious moment at A. So apply the moment at A which is equal to 0 kilonewton meter. Later on you substitute the value of m equals to 0, but to formulate the equation of moment you have to consider there is a moment m acting at A. So you will get the moments, you will get the reactions in terms of m. Okay, you first find the moments in terms of m, reactions in terms of m. Okay. Find RA and RB in terms of m. Okay, and then follow the same procedure we did for the earlier case. Then to find slope at B you apply a moment here, slope at moment at B, which will be equal to 0 kilonewton meter. Okay, and again you find the reactions Ra and Rb in terms of P. Find Ra and Rb in terms of M. Okay, and then you follow the same procedure we did. Then to find slope at C, you have to apply a fictitious moment at C. So here you have to apply a moment M here. M equal to 0. Since there is no moment acting at that, we are applying 0 kilonewton moment, which is a fictitious moment. And then you find the reactions in terms of M. Find Ra and Rb in terms of M. And follow the same procedure, you will get this. Okay, so find theta A, theta B, and theta C. That is task for you. Just complete it when you come next time, so that from the next class we'll move to frames. Okay, we'll apply the Castigliono's first theorem to the frames and find the slopes and deflections of the frame, statically determinate frames. Okay, so let's stop here, and if you have any doubt we can discuss now. Any doubt?